Hello and welcome back to Glorious Creations. My name is Lori. I'm so glad that you joined me today. Now, keeping in my theme with flowers, I want to make some clay that is more pale pink than this. But this is kind of a salmony color, and if I just mix in the white, it'll stay to salmony. So I'm going to mix in some yellow and some brighter, it's almost like a magenta purple. And unfortunately, I do not know the name of this clay. I do not have the package, and I apologize for that. I can tell you both that I can tell you that it's Sculpey. Everything that I'm using is Sculpey clay. And I'm just going to mix it together a few times and get it to a lighter color. Else that I have not used is on Amazon in their flower molds. These have become really popular recently, but I don't want to just make the flower mold. I want to show you how we can take it and make it a little bit more. If you're newer to polymer clay, sometimes it's really helpful to see other people do things and decide if you want to try it for yourself. Got this one little set because I wanted to try it. I thought I'd share it with you. So I don't have a ton of clay here. I'm going to give it one more pass. There, and I'm happy with this. It does not have to be perfectly blended. Okay, so this is the hibiscus flower, and it comes with the hibiscus leaves. And I have learned a couple little things along the way. So the first thing that I have found that worked the best for me was to put it into a little ball and then kind of flatten it out a little bit to about the size that you want it to be for the shape of your mold. Now, these molds are a little bit awkward to use because they're not flat like this, is what I found at first. At first, I was thinking I would just put it on here and take my blade and slice it off. But that wasn't really working because these molds, like I said, are not flat. Out my ball stylus out, and I started going about it in a completely different way. And I'm being a little forceful with the clay at the moment. And I have more here than I need. So now I'm going to just take this part and I'm going to just kind of cut it off gently, being careful not to go all the way through to the silicone or to cut my finger, because that is a very sharp blade. Okay, so what I have found is the easiest way to do it is to take my ball stylus and just start pressing the clay into the position of the flower. And I just kind of started rolling it around and working it all the way through, okay? But if you aren't careful, you're going to end up with too much clay in here in positions that you don't want, which is kind of what I found. So pull it back with your finger just a little bit from the edges, okay? Just go around. If there's any extra clay along the edges, just pull it back, okay? Now, gently take your ball stylus and just kind of work it flatter. And this just takes a couple of seconds, just a minute or so. And this one here is raised up, so it's kind of starting to separate a little bit on me. So I'm going to take a little bit of extra clay. I'm going to put it right here in the middle. Press it down. And then just roll the ball stylus over the clay and flatten it. Okay. You can use your fingers. I tried using silicone ends, and that didn't work as well for me. And just take your time. And there's a reason why pulling this back really makes a difference. I'll show you some of the ones that I made earlier in a minute, and you'll see why I have found that I think this is the best way to do it. And if this one's too big, you can always use a smaller one to do some of these like little detailed spots a little bit better. Maybe you want to get in here, clean that edge up a little bit, clean that spot up a little bit, okay? And now I'm just going to press in just a little bit. And then, see how it's kind of a star shape and we've got these points here in the center is where it comes in. Push in. And it kind of makes your clay separate a little bit. But there's a reason why I did that. And then you pop it out. Doesn't that look cool? The detail that shows up in that flower. But you see how nicely those petals have now moved inward? So one of the ones that I did earlier, I had too much clay and then I tried to cut it off and it made it look really messy on the back. And it wasn't as clean of a look as this. Now, you can always leave this in here longer and clean these spots up more. Just gently roll those spots flat. Because if you do it like I'm doing it now, after you take it out, what'll happen is your creases on the front of this will start to disappear. And I'm doing this on purpose to show you this so you can see what it looks like if you try to do it after the fact. And this is why I was working this clay away from the edge when it was still in the mold. See how it's taking that definition away from that? Okay. Now, this is what a good one looks like that I didn't mess up on the front with the definition. Now, that's really pretty. I'm going to show you a way to bring it up even better and give it a little bit more definition. I've got some pink mica powder and some Hermosa pink mica powder here. And I originally intended to just do this with one product, just the clay and the stencils, or the molds. That didn't work. So now I'm going to just take it and kind of bring that in a little bit. Give those petals some definition, some brightness. But I don't want to do the entire petal. I just want to do little bits of it. And it does not require a lot of mica powder, just a little bit. And I'm using an angled brush, and it's a small brush, so I can just kind of get in there. I want to give it some definition and some shape to those petals, because right now they're just kind of all uniform. So that's where the darker pink comes in. You come in here and you go along your edges and start by just going along one side of them like this. You see the petals are overlapped on here. Oops, and I got a little bit in there, but that's okay. It kind of makes it look like this petal is shadowing the petal underneath it without putting browns or dark colors on here. And you can add a little bit more to some of your tips, maybe. Like so. See, and then it just defines your flower. And you can come in and add just a little bit more into the petal if you want, but be subtle with it. You want your eye to move across the flower. It's almost like you're painting the flower with little tiny hits of color on that clay. If there is a spot that you don't like, say like maybe right here, you want it to be more defined, you can just take your ball stylus and kind of press in just a little bit, very gently and very slowly, like right here. You can separate those petals just a little bit. I found I use the ball stylus more with the Plumeria flower than I do with the hibiscus. Can you use these for? Well, after they're baked, you can put them on a picture frame to decorate it. They'd be really cute in the corner of a picture frame, especially if you add in the leaves that come with it in its stencil. You can make this into a necklace. Another idea that you could use would be something that I saw from a girl on Facebook in a group that I belong to. Her name is Kristen Aguilera, and she used those metal bookmarks that are shaped kind of like a candy cane, it is skinnier at the top and long and hangs down. Well, she took beads and attached that to these flowers and made it look so cute. But I also got her permission to mention this before I included it in this video. So thank you, Kristen, for letting me include that idea. You can take these and you can back it with a larger circle, so it's in the center of your pendant. You can do. So these leaves came with this one as well. And same thing, but these are just a little tiny bit different because the leaf type is a little different. When I got them, I thought that they were, initially, I thought they were Plumeria type leaves, but they're not quite the right shape. And then when I put one of these in here, let's see how I'm just kind of letting it concave to my finger. Now I'm going to push it in just a little bit. Pop it out. It's not a Plumeria leaf. It's actually a Monstera leaf. So now I need my X-Acto knife. And I'm going to go right here. And I'm going to slip this blade in between those little sections. And that's how I'm going to trim this out. Because these types of leaves have openings in them. As a matter of fact, I have one sitting in my kitchen window growing. They're very popular right now. And I love tropical flowers. They are my favorite. And you can pull it apart just a little bit gently. And then you've got that leaf. Not fun. Okay. And then the other leaf that comes with it is a Plumeria. I have some scrap cane here that's yellow and white. And I took it and I mixed it up and it gave me this really subtle yellow color. On one of them, I took it and I put a little yellow in the center and I put white around it. But that's what it turned out looking like, that bright center. This is the first one that I did. And then I put the mica powder, I put yellow mica powder on it. But again, I was still figuring out how to do these leaves on this one. And this was one of the most recent ones that I did. See how much more thinner it is from where I started to where I am now, just from experimenting with it for a little while. This one, is it this one? Which one? Which one was it? Oh, I may have reused it. In one of them, here, I'll show you with this one. In one of them, I wanted a little bit more definition between the petals. And so I took my blade and I kind of cut in a little bit, kind of like with the Monstera leaf, and separated them out a little bit. And then took my ball stylus and brought this petal up just a little bit more before bringing it back over. But do this with clean fingers. And if there's a spot that you don't like, that's too thick, take your ball stylus, turn it over, and just gently roll it in and roll it smooth. So with this one, it definitely needs that extra little smooshing. Smooshing, smooshing. Flatten it out just a little bit. Kind of hold it in the center with my finger. And then take my thumb and just start pushing it out into the petals. And when I first started doing it, I thought that it needed to be level with this. And I quickly learned that that was a mistake. That is why I got these that are so thick. You don't need it to be that thick. So kind of once I have it in position, I still hold it with my finger here. Let's see, like right here, it's not all the way over. So I'm going to take the ball stylus and just slowly kind of push it in there and take that clay and work it in there to where I want it to be. Just take your time. Just work it in there into the position of where you want it to be. Okay. And then slowly from your fingers, take it and work it back. And then again, work to smooth this out. Take your time until you can work those petals smoother. The bigger one sometimes helps with that a little bit more. You take it and roll it across like this. And then take the smaller one, and this really isn't a small one, but it's smaller than that large one that I have, and work it in here. Now, same thing as with the hibiscus. You want to kind of push in on each one of these. And now, but because I pushed in there, I know that this is where I need that to come in. So I'm going to have more definition on the front of my petal. Okay. And remember, this is a flower. Flowers are organic. They are unique. They all have their own shape, even though they're, 5 petals or 6 petals or whatever. Each one is just slightly different. So it's okay if no 2 of your petals are perfectly the same. Okay, let's see what we got. I like it. Same thing as with the hibiscus. You don't really need a lot. Just get some yellow. And then hibiscus tend to be white with pink. Sometimes they've got pink accents, and sometimes they're hot pink. Sometimes they're white and they've got a little bit of yellow on them. Did I say hibiscus? I meant plumeria. And then this one has like a little curve in it. So what I did with that, to define that shape a little bit more, is I used either my ball stylus or my paintbrush and kind of pushed that curve in a little bit, and then just used my fingers to give that shape the definition. And this guy is meant to curl down, but you see how it's thicker here? So I'm going to take my paintbrush and I'm going to put the pressure on this part only over here. I'm going to kind of push in, and I'm going to work that clay to where I want it to be. I'm moving it away from this edge while not losing my curled shape. See how it cleans that petal up? Same thing here. It's too thick right there. So just take your paintbrush and just kind of bring that petal around. And here, this one goes down and then pops up. So we need to thin it right here. Kind of roll it. Give it a little bit of a curve. And then this guy, it's curving down this way. So we want to move the clay from right here. Oops, don't bump it with your thumbnail like that. I'll show you how to clean that up in a second if you don't know. Just roll it over like that. And in this spot, I'm going to put my finger behind it, take a smaller ball stylus, and just heal that little spot of the clay where I kind of marred it. But there, now it's got that pretty petal-ish shape. So, too thick, too chunky, thinner, more petal defined. These, put them on. You could make earrings from these. I think they might be a little bit big, but you could make earrings from those. There are many options with these. If you choose to order them on Amazon, I will share my associate links below. And just know that I will get a small commission, but it doesn't cost you anything extra. Check them out. I will put the link down there below. That you guys might enjoy these. And then you can see what they really and truly look like before you order them and how to use them. Push these in. But if you have a little ring dish like this one, you could bake this and then make this like a permanent fixture on your little dish, because that would be cute as well. Something like that, even if you added the leaf and you kind of want to tuck it in underneath. Oh, that's cute too. Experiment, have fun, try things, see what you can come up with. there are so many options. If you have like a little tray or something that has a flat edge to it, you could put them on the side of that, but do that after they've been baked. Do it with a little bit of super glue to attach them. You could attach them to a vase. So I'm thinking maybe necklace. These guys have a little bit more yellow. They still need a little bit more work. But if you do it something like this, you can account for the variations in your colors. See, I really like how this one has more of its definition in it. See, like how this guy's still raised up. Something like that would be really pretty. A necklace like that. Make something along the back. And if you get the petals thin enough or delicate enough, see, like this one's still thick. This one's pretty thin. Trying to attach them, you know, petal to petal somehow. So that they all kind of overlap each other a little bit. Or you could put it on a cuff type necklace. If you had one of those, that would be pretty, but it would be very substantial. And if you chose to do something like that, then maybe you'd want to go more off center, or maybe just a portion of a flower. You know, nobody says you have to use the whole flower. You could always just cut a part of it off and have it on the edge. But it would be a very stunning piece. It would definitely be eye-catching, and it would definitely get a lot of attention. And if you really wanted to think outside the box, nobody says you have to stay with just the plumerias. You could put a hibiscus in there. Let's see. And change it up even more. You could just string the hibiscus by itself. And that's what a hibiscus would look like. That would be really pretty too. See, and then you've got different sizes and different shapes, and it's fun. Go for it. You would really probably want to use more like beading wire and something that went all the way across, you know, to support from one to the other, because you're also not going to want them spinning on you too much. You know, you're going to want them to pretty much stay in place. Because I have not put this together yet. This is just me experimenting. This is just ideas as they are coming to me, and I'm sharing them with you so that, hey, you can take it and run with it and make something beautiful and fantastic. Container of something, you know, that maybe you want to add a little embellishment or decoration to. You know, you can make your own little garden of flowers and leaves on there. And even though that's not a plumeria leaf, I'm still going to stick it on there because, you know, why not? Because it's ours. It's our art. We can do with it as we will. So enjoy. Have fun, guys. So it's out of the oven, and I initially baked each one of the plumerias for 30 minutes. And then I took my extruder and I put a piece along the back. And because of the way the flowers were sticking up, I trimmed it off so that you couldn't see it from the front. And I really like how this piece is looking. Holding it in my hand, it kind of gives you an idea of the size of it. And in an earlier video, I showed you some of the necklaces that I got from a thrift store that I had taken apart and used the thicker part of the chain and the clasp, and then took some thinner chain and measured it out to the correct length. I laid it around on my neck to figure out where this needed to hang in measured how far this needed to be to get it to the correct length. But here's my problem. I have tried this a couple different ways now. And taking my extruder, I can make some more of the stuff. It's the thinner one than I used earlier. And this one may work better. I'm gonna try it because this guy that I used before is too big to fit through my jump ring. And if I do just a regular round clay bale and put it on here, it'll stick out too far. It'll stick out further than I want it to be. But just a little round bale like this would make this too wide. And it would sit weird because it's laying against your chest. So this part would stick out funny. Do I do just a whole nother piece back here? Part of me wishes that I had made a slit and put the jump ring in here before I baked this and put the initial piece around it. But I wasn't thinking about this part of it. I was just thinking about attaching something to the back here and it not showing. And I was like, oh, I've got the chain. I can just, stick it on there. No big deal. And yeah, one did not equal two. So now I'm at the point where I have to figure out how to solve this. And, this is something that we all face as artists. Okay, we've done something, we really like it, we're really happy with it, but somewhere along the way, we made a mistake. So how do we fix it? How do we solve our problem? But I think what I'm going to do is take a jump ring and some clay and put it on here on the back like this, and then reattach the metal to it. I don't want this to stand up really far off of the back either. And ideally, I would have this part hidden inside the clay for more security. So this one has another jump ring that I will use to attach the necklace piece to this. And I measured the necklace. It is the correct length. It fits very well around my neck. Okay, add a little liquid clay in there. Sorry, I got quiet. So I'm gonna work till I get this adhered on here. And smooth it down. That's going to be my fix. And hopefully it'll work. They're out of the oven. I've baked them for 45 minutes. They could bake just a little bit longer, I think. And I think that they're going to hold. I'm really happy with how it has turned out. But in hindsight, what I could have done was made a little S with wire going down further, connecting the jump ring underneath the clay and giving it more support. Thank you so much for watching. The necklace is attached. I absolutely love it. I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do with my hibiscus yet, but I have lots of ideas, and I hope you guys do too. Have a glorious day. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, guys.